So, ulitin ko ha, sorry, para dun sa mga nasa YouTube at saka sa Facebook, ang purpose ng live natin po ngayon ay para mag-explore kung ano sa atin, sa ating taong bayan, ang gusto natin isulong kung sakasakali na sa pagbabago sa ating saligang batas. So, ang ano is, the idea kasi, when we make laws, you identify a need. You identify a right that needs to be protected. Ganun po kasi talaga po gumawa ng batas. I-identify mo yung need o yung right that needs to be protected at lalagyan natin ng obligasyon or kung sakaling it's a criminal law, lalagyan natin ng penalties and so on. Hindi po basta-basta ang pagsusulong ng isang batas. Hindi rin po basta-basta nagbabago ng isang batas. Kailangan ina-identify natin yung need at yung paraan ng pagbabago na yon. Hindi po tayo basta magde-decide na, masyado naman, let's try something else. Parang, sige, na-try na natin ang Republican Democratic dictatorship naman ngayon. Kasi, kung ganun ang gagawin natin, you might be painting yourself into a corner. Like we said, hindi po ganun kadali magbago ng saligang batas. Hindi po ganun kadali din na isipin natin, okay, let's do this. Kailangan may studies tayo. Kailangan may basihan kung bakit natin kung bakit natin unang-una baguhin ano yung need, ano yung mga kailangan natin pagbabago. Sabi ni Magbubukid sa TikTok, ano bang masasabi mo sa 1987 Constitution? Okay ba o need palitan? Sa akin kasi, ina-identify ko kung ano yung mga kailangan natin. So, halimbawa, sa panahon ngayon, ano yung need natin? Ako kasi, yung ibang naiisip ko is relates to certain laws. Halimbawa, kailangan natin ng Land Use Act. Kasi limited po ang ating real estate. Kumbaga, kukunti lang ang lupa natin. And so, there might come a time na yung mga forests, yung mga protected areas, protected landscapes, and all that, ay mawawala sa atin kung hindi natin aayusin yung sistema ng pag-allocate ng lupa. So, para sa akin, gusto ko na yung nakalagay na protected areas sa saligang batas ay linawin at gawing permanente kung ano yung mga, let's say, forest lines natin, ano yung mga identified areas na pinoprotektahan natin para forever silang protektado. Hindi yung suddenly somebody comes along and says, I don't see the value in this, at erase na. Isang malaking balakid sa ating nakaraan o sa pag-aaral natin na ating kasaysayan, ang ini-erase natin yung ating mga historical sites, ini-erase natin yung mga forests natin, and so on. Sabi ni Seo Kyun-soo, AI world na po tayo, dapat adapt sa panahon. Yes, but what exactly? What do we need to? Sige, it's an AI world. What law will you make? What change in the Constitution will you make? Meron bang nasa saligang batas natin na nagpipigil sa ating development in an AI world? Yun po, ang kailangan natin i-identify. We're not going to go into this and say, parang sapatos, no? Luma na to eh. Tapos na yun, wala tayong bago. Do you even need to change anything? Do you need to change everything? Pwede rin namang, we only need to change a few provisions. Diba? Sabi ni Sas, at dito si Sas, mahilig naman talaga ang mag-erase ngayon ng gobyerno. Parang may laman yan. Okay? Next. So, yun yung kasi yun ang napansin ko. Sinasabi natin, kailangan ganito. So, but you need to discuss, bakit natin kailangan yun? Ano po ang hindi nyo nakikitang o ang balakid sa ating development na nandun sa loob ng ating saligang batas para baguhin natin yun at i-correct natin. Diba? Ako, isa. I would think na dapat two-party system. Alam niyo kung bakit? Kasi grabe yung traidoran. Aray ko. Yung tipong, kung sino yung presidente, mawawala na yung partido, lahat pupunta dun sa presidente. And mangyayari yung mga panahon, kapag lumalabas yung figurine, okay, sige, tanggalin natin, ha? Matatakot ka ba? Kasi it's an anito actually. So if it scares you, I'll put it away. So you don't see it. Okay. Okay na? Okay na? Hindi na tayo hindi na creep out? Okay. I know, actually I saw it then parang creepy nga eh. Totoo naman yan. Parang sabi ko, parang may tao sa likod ko. Okay. So, ano yung hurry enough? So, So, yun yung titignan natin. Ako, two-party system. I prefer a two-party system. Para kahit paano may opposition. Kahit paano merong pagkikinis ng ideas. Kasi parang ang mga batas and even ang mga polisiya ng gobyerno, tumatalas yan or magiging mas effective yan kung mayroon naghahasa. Ano yung paghahasa? Pag kiniskis mo dun sa opposition. So, pagka ganun, maaaring may magpupresenta sa atin kung ano yung mga pagkakamali o yung mga kailangan i-refine sa isang batas kasi may dalawang panig na magkakatunggali. Kasi ganun po, yung sistema sa ating justice system, adversarial siya. So magkalaban. Sandali, 2 seconds. Hari, and now, you go out. Okay, this way, out, up. Okay? You want to go out, go out. Yan. There's water outside. Hari is not there. Sorry po. So, the dogs kasi minsan grabe talaga demanding si Harry. Senior na po kasi yung aking dachshund. So parang medyo sinaspoil-spoil ko na. 14 years old na siya in people years. Okay. Ito, sabi ni Sir Francis, what to change? Baguhin nila yung population requirements sa paggawa ng bagong bayan, probinsya, distrito, barangay, padami ng politiko sa atin. I like that. Gusto ko, limitado yung number of times that we can add districts to a particular area, di ba? Halimbawa, ang liit ng yung congressman, hindi naman dapat po ganun. So I get it, pero hindi ko sure kung sa saligang batas yan. I think you might just need to enact a law for that. So, sabi ni Roger, constitutional convention lang, no more, no less, 4-year term, up to 2 terms for president and VP. I agree with this. 2 4-year terms, you mean? Pwede silang mag-re-elect. Okay, ganun po sa atin dati. I think I agree with that one. Plus tandem voting. Yun, agree din ako dun sa tandem voting. Para hindi magkatunggali ang presidente at saka ang vice-presidente. Di ba? Agree ako dyan. I like those ideas. Pareho sila ni Sir Francis. Yun. So that's how we do it. I-identify natin ano yung nandun sa saligang batas na does not work for us anymore. So either we take it out completely or we change it. Diba? That's how to approach charter change. Hindi yung para tayong nagte-testing ng sapatos. Kasi sa totoo lang, kung magkamali sa atin, kung magkamali tayo, it's not going to be that easy to put it back. Diba? Tignan nyo nangyari dun sa Brexit, diba? Hindi nila akalain na parang hindi talaga napag-usapan. Ayun, nagbago sila. Tapos ang dami pala ihahabol. Sabi ni Freddy Orendina, China template in getting public servants via rigid tests in interviews. No business dealings. But we do have rigid requirements in entering the civil service. Di ba yun nga ay issue ngayon? Pero hindi sa saligang batas po yan. That's the law, public service. Sa ating Civil Service Act po yan. It's not the Constitution. So, pero I agree with you na but that's already what's happening. Ang nangyayari, ang tindi ng mga requirements natin para sa ordinaryong mga kawani ng gobyerno, pero para sa kongresista at minsan para sa senador at saka presidente, able to read and write, di ba, residency and so on. And valid, and registered voter. So, sa akin, another one, gusto ko magkaroon ng parang antitrust laws. At kailangan nasa saligang batas yan. Kasi what we'll be saying is that dapat ganito lang, yung kumbaga, we don't allow the oligarchy or the people to get too rich. That's the reason why we should tax more those people who make more. Alam niyo kung bakit? Kasi umaabot na sa punto na yung mga super yaman, kaya na nilang bilhin kahit sinong umupo sa ating mga government officials. Diba? We don't want anybody to get that rich kasi nawawalan ng competition. Nawawalan ng ano ba tawag dito? Na yun nga, na yung mga nandun sa taas, kontrolado na nilang lahat. So, the rest of us hampas lupa, they'll just allow us to make money up to a certain level, but never let us reach the point where we can challenge them in their industries and so on. Ito, sabi ni Adir, I think need to prioritize this government of this government first to have good jobs of every Filipino. Political ambition is maybe the next priority. Then, what you're actually saying is, wag natin baguhin yung saligang batas, pero i-prioritize natin ang economic recovery natin. And that only needs policy. Si Sas, sabi ni Sas, kaya na naman yan ngayon. Dapat talaga French Enlightenment Philippine version. O paki-explain ni Sas, ano yung French Enlightenment government version, Philippine version. Ano yan? Kasi hindi ko talaga alam yung French Enlightenment na yan. Hi, good evening kay Inday Official. Hindi po yan Inday Sara, ha? Okay, akyat si Sas. Saglit ha. Wait lang Sas, I'll just get you a link. Dito ko nilang ilalagay Sas ha. Yan. Akyat si Sas. Sabi ni Khalif, iba na yung French na alam ko. Oy! Iba na yung usapan na yan. Sas, ayan na yung link. Waiting. Sabi ni Erwin Martinez, mukhang magandang topic yung French Enlightenment. Sabi ni Ma'am Angela, may isahan nila dito mga walang pinag-aralan. Sabi ni Chisa, wawan dito si Sas. Alam mo Justin, kung mayroong kang ipopropose, magpapakomentohan, ilagay mo yung buong wag yung numbers kasi hindi ko naman memoryado yung mga yan. So, you're going to have to put that in. Okay, the 9851 ano yan, DDA. So, ano yung section 17? Ayan na si Sas. Magandang gabi, Miss Sasot.
Magandang gabi, Trixie. Magandang gabi, everyone.
Ayan.
Ayan.
Alright, what is this French Enlightenment? Okay, explain.
Well, kailangan kasi na sustain yung ating principles in life. You know, na if we believe that public service is service,
yes,
we should stick to that. Alam mo yun? Parang ito, no? Kasi ang ano natin ngayon, ako yung on topic, sa topic mo, I am for change of the political system. I think I've been very consistent with that. I think the only diversion is paano ba natin to i-achieve, no? Baka kasi pwede tayong mag-pilot muna. Diba? Halimbawa, ito yung sinusulong nila ng federalism. Baka naman pwede tayong some areas could be declared as special economic zone, katulad dito sa China, di ba, na meron silang significant autonomy in order to economically develop their
actually, meron tayong ganyan. Pero hindi pa to that extent. Hindi gaya ng sa China, city, isang buong city yung special economic zone.
Ang pangit kasi sa atin, Attorney Trixie, it's just like, okay, economic development din itong halimbawa, ano ba mga special economic zone sa atin na hindi mo naman maintindihan, ang layo-layo nito sa lahat ng it's not a real community, it's just like a community that you build from scratch na you don't, na pag umalis din yung mga investors, yung mga nakatira doon, aalis din kasi it's not a real real community. Halimbawa pwede ka ng, by region, let's say na, okay, Ilocos region, you can have a status of special economic zone, tapos meron kang time, it could be time bound na we're gonna give you 10 years in order to develop, and then if you fail to meet your targets, you're gonna lose the status. Parang mga ganon, no? And that is some sort of evolving federalism na magkakaroon ka ng graduation points. Now, going back to the French Enlightenment Philippine version, this is actually prioritizing science, scientific management over just emotions and itong kasi yung politika natin ngayon at Attorney Trixie, this is still very 80s 70s, mga politikang barrio pa rin tayo. It's already 2024 na parang ganito. Halimbawa, yung ayuda na yan na parang hindi pa ba tayo parang it's still not yet percolating or bumababa sa utak natin na hindi naman ayuda yung kailangan natin, kundi long-term solution. So parang makakailangan muna natin mag-delayed gratification. Para
how to legislate that? Kasi halimbawa, gets ko yung we are very, totoo yun, heart over head. And ako, as a scientist, medyo problematic yan talaga for us. Yung mga logical thinking, yung mga ability to discuss in hypotheticals. Yung mga ganon. So, but isn't that something for education to take up? Does it require a constitutional reform? Or is it something that we need to do first bago tayo magbago ng saligang batas?
I think it can go hand in hand na parang halimbawa ito ang laki nating issue nito political dynasty but nobody knows how to really solve it. Parang what is exactly the solution? Sabi nila kailangan lang tayo magpasa ng batas. But the problem, Attorney Trix, is kung titingnan natin ang konteksto ng Pilipinas, political dynasties are very huge part of political communities in our country. Hindi ba? Halimbawa ito, di ba tinanggal yung mga titles sa mga nobility, di ba? You know that, di ba? Na because of a law, tinanggal yung mga di ba nung umpisa niyan, basta tinanggal na lang. We will, hindi na i-honor ang mga titles of nobility, etc. Pero the structure is still there. Tinanggal mo lang yung title. But hindi ito katulad ng let's say nangyari sa China or in France na talagang inabolish talaga ng mga tao yung monarchical system. Yeah, revolution. Hindi yung gagawa lang tayo ng batas, tatanggalin natin tong monarchy. It doesn't happen that way. Kasi yung mga tao, dapat meron sa kanilang sariling puso't diwa at yun talagang gusto nila sa kanilang kinabukasan na i-abolish natin monarchical system. Kaya nga yung political dynasty, it's like a monarchical system sa atin na you cannot remove it just because of a law. So dahil hindi natin siya matanggal, ayaw rin naman mga taong mag-revolt against it.
Aren't we putting so much hope in charter change? Kasi parang ang tingin ng mga tao, you're right, the Constitution just being another higher, more expansive law, a law in which all other laws are going to be based. Aren't we putting all our hopes and dreams and thinking that all of these problems are going to be solved because we changed the charter? And para sa akin, unang-una, kailangan iangat natin yung buhay ng bawat Pilipino at yung antas ng edukasyon para kaya ng ordinaryong mamamayan makipagdebate nang hindi nakikipagbardagulan. Hindi umabot dun sa punto na puro ad hominem, may logic at not only can people participate in debate but will understand when their officials are the ones who are debating para nakikilatis natin.
I think ang problema kasi natin, Attorney Trixie, is really the uneven development in our country. That's the number one problem that I'm seeing. Kaya na overburden yung Metro Manila. Kaya nga ako I am in favor of evolving federalism, and maybe you can just a provision in the Constitution na you would have evolved. Katulad nung sinuggest ko, meron kang graduation points. Hindi yung federal na tayo. Kasi ang tinitingnan lang na hindi natin nakikita is how messy the transition could be. So the problem now is to look at how to make sure the transition would be as stable as possible. Kasi pag hindi natin ito pinutukan on how the transition could be as stable as possible, mas maano yung tao babalik ulit tayo dun sa dating sistema. Like for example, like the Cory, like Cory had the revolutionary government. Binago niya yung sistemang inano ni Marcos. Bumalik doon sa presidential system and then bumalik ulit with a vengeance. So I hope that people are seeing this.
Yun na nga, I don't want to reiterate na uulitin natin yung mistakes ng 86 and 87. Kasi yung 87 Constitution, sa totoo lang, is a knee-jerk reaction. Ay, nag-martial law noon, we suffered so much. Ratat tayo ng mga provisions under the powers to declare martial law, to the relationship between Congress and the presidency, and so on. Lahat ito, ginawa natin because we were reacting, or the people then were reacting to the Marcos government and to the 1973 Constitution. Instead of us thinking about what do we need, where do you want to go, what kind of system is better for all of us. Saan tayo nagkakamali dito? And para sa akin, magsa-start talaga tayo with the oligarchy. We have to keep people from getting so rich that they can buy the country. Kasi hindi natin napipigilan yan.
Well, that doesn't need to pag yan ang problema, Attorney Trix, if that's a problem that you're seeing, we don't need to change the constitution for that. What we only need is for a law to be passed that political parties, their campaigns will be funded by the government. And that already eliminates the, not totally, because sometimes, may mga under the table naman yan, is for them to have at least a guarantee that the government will handle their campaign, will fund their campaign, no? Kasi nga and then dun mo mas mag-engage kung ano yung lumagpas ito dun sa budget na binigay ng gobyerno, saan kaya nito kinuha. So it's easier to track kung ano yung merong influence ng big money, no? Sa kanila. So but the thing is, itong sa nakikita ko, no, ang nakikita ko lang na kailangan natin tutukan sa Constitution is really to have for the Constitution to be changed in such a way that if the leadership is incompetent, it's easier to remove. But if the leadership is competent, they should be given a chance to continue. So ako kasi nung mas nakikita ko, no, na yung policy continuity, and of course, yung ability of our political system to actually change immediately the leadership. The leadership is not up to par. Hindi yung maghihintay ka pa matapos yung term niya hanggang magbago. Kasi you're going to waste a lot of years waiting for Godot. Waiting for something to change. Kung alam mo na sumisimple, di ba yung sa UK nga, 45 days pala, nakita ng incompetent, tinanggal ka. 45 days, di ba?
I get that. So, if ever we change it to a form of a system na, kasi if you say parliamentary, tapos yun lang ang hinahabol na, actually, we can just change a particular aspect in our constitution that allows us to change administrations, actually, not the entire, kasi in the parliamentary system, we call it change of government. Pero sa atin, it's merely a change of administration. So to allow us to change administrations, pero without need for elections. Diba? Kasi yung elections yung nagpapamahal eh. So, ang tanong nga is, without an equity system, without a system that guarantees that we're not going to pay off everybody in the legislature or whatever body it is that's going to set our leaders, then it will simply be a matter of money. Sino yung maraming pera para ipamudmud? So, kung hindi natin ito babaguhin, mayaman pa rin naman nanalo.
Pero kaya nga na more than that, I prefer na magkaroon ng some regions or whatever could apply for a special economic zone status. And then meron of course it's going to be kasi if ang concern natin is continuity policy, okay? And kailangan nating mag-pilot testing. So ang middle ground yan is I think a special economic zone status to some region who wanted it. Nasabihin natin na, okay, we're gonna give you, para magkakaroon ka ng council dyan who would serve for 10 years. It's going to be a very technocratic setup. 10 years. And then, periodically, the government would review your performance. Are you meeting your targets? Ano ba nangyayari? Is this working out for you? So you do have a 10-year continuity, and then kung okay pala ito sa kanila, actually kahit 5 years pala makikita mo na yung effect niyan. And then other regions can apply for it, and then you are now slowly evolving, towards a full, kasi unahin mo muna economic autonomy. And then the political autonomy could come afterwards.
Mhm.
Diba? Once na you do have economic status, or maybe we don't need to give them political autonomy at all because the current setup na yung economic autonomy nila is actually working wonders for the region. Diba? Kasi we need to pilot test muna itong mga ideas na to, no? Before we do wholesale. That's the scientific way of doing that.
Gets ko. But isn't that what we're doing? So meron tayong BARM. And ang problema rin kasi is because we created it via a law and it's not that easy to go back.
Pero the thing about BARM is political autonomy lang yun eh. Sama, ano lang yun eh, parang...
Because we like to do halfway measures eh. Halimbawa, itong local government code was supposed to transition us to allow local autonomies. And that is supposed to be to transition us to some kind of a federal system. Ang problema is this. Ang nagsulong niyan kasi ay yung mga local governments. But there has been no development in the local political scenes, kumbaga, that would allow us to further develop. O halimbawa, yung mga autonomy na yan, local autonomies, they wanted to control healthcare. O di sige, inyo na yung healthcare as a local government code. Meron na kayong pondo and so on. It's still not working kasi nga, may iba ang local politics sa national politics.
Yeah, so, it's hindi talaga siya mag-work at politics because there's no economic autonomy. They are not free to accept investors within their region without going through
the national.
The national. So that
alam ko na merong attempt to do that. So the law before BARM, the one that was declared unconstitutional, sumobra naman sila on the other end. Meron silang economic autonomy, pero what they wanted was practically secession. Ako, I don't mind if the local governments or the states, however you want it, can conduct economic relations with other countries. Ganun naman talaga eh. Yun naman ang gusto natin. Pero they pushed it to the point na they would create their own currency, create their own international relations, and virtually create their own armies, which for me is secession.
Well, that's still political autonomy. Kasi
pero, how do you stop balkanization from that?
Well,
I think hindi.
Kaya nga, Sean, those who would like to have a special economic zone status, these are the conditions. No? Bibigyan namin kayo ng freedom to be able to develop your economy, open, you can declare them open cities. Kasi special economic zones are essentially open cities, no? You can accept investors, but in terms of defense, kasi yan naman yung under kayo. You only have economic kasi that's the thing, no? You can negotiate these things in kasi nga if you cannot give them political okay, you can have your own army, that's different. Ang linya nyo, this is it, you have this is a special economic zone status, meaning only those things related to economy you have more freedom to do it. You can determine you can determine the economic needs of your region or whatever, or zone, however you want to call it, and then you can devise a plan on how to invite investors, etc., develop your industrial capacity. Pero yun na nga, if you're failing, we will take over. Kasi nga, parang relationship mo is, you are, the national government will remain as the parent.
Yeah.
You are still
yung ganon, yung semi-autonomous or autonomous economic regions. So, pero bibigyan natin sila ng timeline, time period. You have to be able to achieve X. For example, be fully connected. Kasi wala ka naman negosyo kung hindi ka fully connected. Meron na kayong plans for your power and water, etc.
Because meron targets.
May targets. Tapos, mawawala yung status mo if hindi mo ma-comply within that period. Kumbaga, it's the devil is in the details, and almost always in this country, the devil is in the execution. Kasi
kaya nga magpa-pilot testing ka. You identify first some regions who could do it. No? Like you would limit it in the first...
Isn't BARM a form of pilot testing? Kasi political lang yung autonomy niya.
Oo kasi yung BARM, kita mo, BARM is not making any good economic decisions. Why?
Depende pa kasi sila. Laki ng budget nila from national
Yeah,
70
because
billion.
nanatili yung patronage system. The point of special economic zone is that you have a plan on how you're going to develop your region, develop your region. And then, if you don't hit your targets in 10 years, tatanggalin namin yan kasi hindi mo ginagawa yung ano mo eh. So kasi ngayon na parang all the ayuda is really for them to support your political leadership nationally. Wala naman silang pakialam kung ano ginagawa mo diyan, basta bibigyan kita ng pera but you support my national leadership. So that's a patronage system. Kaya nga the new thing is that parang franchise, di ba? Meron silang limit yan. Ilan ba usually yan? 25 years?
A franchise? 25? Renewable?
Yeah. Yeah, so 25 years. And then, after 25 years, dun ka i-review yung franchise mo. Or bibigyan ka ba uli? Hindi ka ba bibigyan ng uli? So, you can apply it to specific zones. And maybe ang pwede lang mag-review ng Senate, no? Kasi ang Congress, ang gulo-gulo niya. Ang gulo-gulo niya ng Congress, no? And then that's the time na para ano ka, hindi ka blanket na okay, bibigyan namin kayo ng autonomy. And then ikaw naman hindi mo siya i-develop kasi wala namang provision doon na i-develop mo siya kundi mawawala yung autonomy mo. Wala kang sense of urgency to economically develop your region because alam mong nandiyan na yan.
So
at hindi siya matatanggal.
Correct. So para sa mga nanonood sa atin, yes, lalo na yung mga nandun sa TikTok, magandang gabi po dun sa mga bagong pasok. Si Sas po yung naririnig nyo. Hindi siya makaakyat kasi dito sa TikTok. So she is, para dun sa mga nanonood sa TikTok, you can watch we're on our Facebook pages and on our YouTube channel. So ang discussion dito kasi is, what we're trying to do is to raise the level of the discussions dito sa charter change. Ang charter change, nagiging, gusto ko federal, gusto ko parliamentary, you're looking at small problems that you're trying to fix via charter change. Hindi po kailangan. Ang charter change is to, the idea is to reformulate the national philosophy. Diba? Kasi yun ang magiging basis ng ating governance. Now, how do we do that? Well, first of all, is to recognize the power of the local systems, the local, let's say, regions or the local governments to conduct business on their own in the manner that they see fit. And to conduct business so that they can do so internationally. Kumbaga, you decentralize economic development. You decentralize
economic development
to control every aspect. So, wala, yung SEC mo, local na. Yung hindi ka nagna-national. And you can conduct economic relations between the local governments and national governments abroad. Now,
just like for example, Taiwan. Taiwan has only economic relations with other countries. You know? So, ang mangyayari, if you want to form political relations, ayari ka sa Beijing. So, you can apply that kind of setup in the Philippines that you limit only economic and cultural, let's say economic and cultural people-to-people exchanges. Kasi nga, you need them to sufficiently develop. Kasi babalikan ko yung ano ko sa iyo, Trixie, how can you avoid the balkanization? The problem is the opposite of balkanization is really a false sense of unification. We are unified because each regions are working on some sense of patronage system doon sa national government. Kung gusto ka ng presidente, kung gusto ka ng leadership diyan, panay ang bigay. Diba? So that's the basis of the unity. I think we are in an important period, I think in the political history, that we can revise it. That we are united not because we are patriot, but we are actually one country that has an integrated economic industrial systems. Diba? Imagine, each region in the country would be developing their own industrial capacity. So that would be the basis of your unity, your economic integration. Diba? Kasi tayo ngayon parang, okay, parang Tagalog nationalism. Okay, nagsuot tayo ng barong, and etc. And we're united already.
So yes, kasi marami rin naman, even the way we practice our politics is very localized. I mean, it's very cosmetic rin. Kasi sinasabi natin, democracy tayo, hindi may oligarchy that controls everything. We only have the illusion of choice without actually having a choice. Kasi kung ang pagpipilian mo ay 10 oligarko rin, na o kaya 10 dynasty, that's not really a choice. Ang masama pa niyan is we even get to blame ourselves. Kasi parang sinasabi, yung term na bobotante, I totally disagree with that. It is not the voters' fault when we elect these people. First of all, the decision was already made for us by the fact that iilan lang yung pagpipilian natin. Pangalawa, the level of education is such that we are limited to fighting for scraps. Yun lang ang nakikita natin, even here. Ngito, pinag-uusapan natin ang saligang batas. Ang nakikita po natin ay yung mga maliliit na problema na sa totoo lang maaayos natin sa paggawa ng tamang batas. So, ang saligang batas kasi, may filosofiya yan, may national philosophy, may national unifying thought, and meron tayong paraan para, and yung tingin ko the unifying thought here should be equity. Yung kumbaga, every person in theory should be able to develop, and kumbaga, lahat tayo pwedeng yumaman. Lahat tayo pwedeng i-fulfill natin kung ano yung highest development natin. Hindi ito tungkol sa pera, but to be able to have the opportunity to be the best that you can, to be able to develop yourself, both personally, your finances, your family, and so on. Ang worry ko kasi dito sa Pilipinas is that the oligarchy controls everything, even the way we are thinking.
Yeah. Kasi halimbawa, Attorney Trixie, there are policies that could have been implemented if some regions have at least a economic autonomy. Like, for example, yung mga mining cities, yung mga mining regions, na the wealth should be first enjoyed by those people in that community.
Correct.
Yeah. So, like for example, ang ano ng Alaska, meron silang permanent fund. So Alaskan Permanent Fund. So it's a local sovereign wealth fund. Okay. So yung kita dun sa oil, etc., it's put in a fund ng Alaska, and then every year yung mga nakatira sa Alaska are given dividends. No? So
Texas ganun din.
Yeah, so they're actually from the natural resource extraction doon sa kanilang region. Pero when we see it here, halimbawa yung Caraga, it's one of the poorest regions in our country. Yet, nandyan ang mga minahan. So it doesn't make any sense. Hindi ba?
Oo. Sabi ni Sia Hyun-soo, nakakalula na daw masyadong malalim. Sige, we'll break it down for you. Ang sinasabi natin dito kasi, ang nagiging approach natin, at ito ay impluwensya din ng ating mga mabababaw na politiko, gusto nila kababawan lang talaga yung mga diskusyon dito sa politika. Pero kung ang purpose natin sa pagtitingin at pag-aamyenda ng ating saligang batas ay para lahat tayo ay umangat, kailangan yung aspirations natin, yung kung ano yung tingin natin, yung values ang inaaral natin. Ano bang pinahahalagahan natin? At doon natin gagawin yung saligang batas. Kasi ganun po yung paggagawa, yung tunay na paggagawa ng batas. Hindi yung kababawan na approach ng ibang mga legislators natin na, ay, dapat dito, bawal ang jaywalking. O, ay, dito, bawal ang road rage. Yung mga ganun, they approach it on a piecemeal basis. Kumbaga, nakikita lang nila, parang may maliliit na sugat, so binaband-aid lang nila. Pero ang dapat sa saligang batas, yung entire body ang kinoconsider natin. So, i-identify natin dito, ano yung balakid sa ating development. Halimbawa, yun na nga, pinakamalaking problema yung oligarkiya. Kasi binibigyan tayo lang ng ilusyon na may choice tayo kung sino na i-elect natin. Pero ang totoo niyan, ang choices natin ay limitado lang dun sa mga miyembro ng oligarchy o mga miyembro ng mga political elites natin. Sila lang. Kahit dito, no matter how much we love the Dutertes, we are still going to be voting for them, a Duterte family, because we correlate good governance with a particular family. So yung ganong klaseng mindset, I'm not saying it's wrong in their case, but I'm saying is that in the long run, it's going to be bad for us. Di ba? Kailangan nagkikilatis tayo, kaya natin mag-set ng mga objective standards sa pagpipili ng liderato natin. Pero naaantala tayo sa iba't ibang mga bagay, halimbawa sa mga bagay that will lead to an understanding of this. Mahina ang edukasyon, kulang, kailangan itaasan ng antas ng edukasyon. Pero bakit mababa ang antas? Kasi the political elites have already mandated na hindi pwedeng mas matalino tayo sa kanila. Okay? Kasi magiging tayo. Pag masyado na tayong matalino, hindi na natin sila iboboto.
Yeah, ako kaya nga ako go local, no. Kasi the local the regions at least, they know what they need. And then they know how to get there.
Correct.
The problem is
we need to prioritize the empowerment of the voter. And how are we going to do that? We have to ensure na when we go local, o paligsahan kayo, pagalingan kayo ng educational system. The national system will set standards. For instance, how much you have to know in order for you to graduate high school. Parang ganun lang. Pero the rest, what they have to learn, what they have to, will be implemented by the local, government. So, well, no matter how big that LGU is.
Ako nga, I want I want them to study the Alaskan setup. So there is a board managing the economics side of things, and then they have a separate mandate, at ito yung mandate nila. So that the political arm, ito yung mga binoboto. Of course, they have oversight function. So parang, the other one runs the seat, the region or the city, like a corporation, while the other one is the political oversight over them. Kasi you need to separate it. Kasi I don't think Filipinos are still ready or still have the technocratic mindset na hindi rin naman lahat nakakaintindi on what is the most efficient way of doing things. This is a highly technical discussion. So you still separate the two, and then the other one would show their performance metrics, and that's how you at least you separate, you allow, you're still building on the personality based system that you have right now, but you are now building, incorporating another layer that is more technocratic in function.
Okay. Sige. Sas, can you take over for like 1 minute? Kasi nalulobat ako at ang layo ng charger ko. 1 minute lang. Nawala ka.
Anong gagawin ko? So yun, so babasahin. Oo, ano bang babasahin natin dito habang wala si Trixie? Okay, ano bang mga tanong ninyo? Sabi ni Katipunan Poll Party, continuity is very important. Kaya the best ang parliamentary. Parang Singapore with Lee Kuan Yew. Yes, it is the best system. But the problem is, how do we get there? Okay? So, ang nangyayari kasi sa atin is we only look at the final, what's this? Tinitingnan lang kasi natin yung final form eh. Pero hindi natin pinag-aaralan kung how they got there. Like for example, yung parliamentary system sa Singapore. Okay? Lee Kuan Yew, Singapore history is that they started from scratch. Natanggal sila sa Federation ng Malaysia. So they had the luxury of starting from scratch. Yung parliamentary sa Scandinavian countries like Sweden, Norway, Iceland, and Finland, these evolved differently. No? Pati yung parliamentary system sa UK, yung parliamentary system sa UK, it was a sort of a compromise between the monarchy and the aristocracy who wanted more say in the government. And then the French parliamentary system happened because of the French Revolution. So, titingnan natin kasi, how do we get from point A to point B? Maganda yan. Pero the thing is, how do we get from point A to point B? We cannot just say, let's just copy Singapore. Pero the thing is, the starting point of Singapore is different from the starting point of the Philippines. Kaya nga na parang hindi mo naman pwedeng sabihin na, baguhin natin yung constitution natin and everything would be changed. No, it doesn't happen that way because it didn't happen that way in other countries. So, kaya nga, kailangan natin taas yung ating discussion on how process. Ang pinag-uusapan natin dito is the process. Kaya nga pinag-uusapan dito yung change of constitution. It's part of the process. Tatanungin na natin, is this the only process that we need? Kasi naman baka naman yung ibang nangangampanya na baguhin yung sistema, hindi nila alam. Wala silang idea on how the different parts of the process ay mag-aakma-akma sa isa't isa, no? At yung tinututukan lang nila, yung isa at yung iba, hindi na nila alam. Ay, hindi po pwede yan. Kasi may proseso no? Na parang, how do we get from point A to B? Although na constitutional change is important, pero the thing is, baka naman merong ibang paraan on how we can go from A to B.
Is it charter change that we need? Or an entire, I don't know, national...
Ito may tanong si Going Avigate. Sabi niya, Miss Sas, hindi niyo po ba bet yung federalism? Wala akong sinasabing ganyan. Ang sinasabi ko is how do we move? Paano po tayo pupunta from point A to point B? Hindi po magic yan. Okay? Yeah. Hindi po magic yan. Na nandito ka sa point na ito, tapos pag binago mo yung constitution mo, mapupunta ka agad sa point B. Dahil ang kinakatakot natin dito, we need to be risk averse din, no? I am for drastic changes, but I understand the risks. Kaya nga, we need to prepare for that. Na, katulad nung nangyari kay Cory, nagkaroon siya ng revolutionary government, just a knee-jerk reaction doon sa old system, ibinalik naman niya yung dating system, the presidential system, but much worse, and then look where we are now. Okay? So ngayon, hindi po kasi ako, nagbebenta sa inyo ng produkto. Alam niyo mga nagbebenta sa inyo ng produkto, hindi sinasabi yung risks. Diba? Kasi gusto nilang mabenta yung produkto. Ako kasi hindi po ako ganyan. I will be honest with you about the risks. No? Ngayon, dapat malaman mo yung risks. Kasi kung di mo alam yung risks, ay hindi tayo nag-uusap ng policy, nag-uusap ng doktrina. Alam mo?
Sabi nga ni sabi ni Louis Estonanto, stuck nga sa lower levels ng Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Ang mga Pinoy, priority ng karamihan saan kukuha ng pagkain kaysa matters of national interest. Economic liberation muna, please, like SG. So yun nga, natin. That is exactly what we're trying to do here. Inaangat din natin yung antas ng diskusyon. Kasi nga, and this is, hindi natin dapat pinapadikta doon sa mga politiko natin kung paano natin gagawin itong pagbabago ng sistema o pagbabago, yung national change. Yun dapat ang hinahanap natin. It's a change, a shift in perspective, a shift in philosophy. Yung pag-iisip natin, dapat pag ganito, paano natin isusulong, how do you create the economic development that we need? So kung kunwari, ang paraan yan ay may babaguhin tayo sa saligang batas, identify natin yung need. Gusto natin mag-create, halimbawa, advance sa suggestion ng economic autonomous regions. Emphasis on economic. Kasi yun po talaga, yung puntirya natin is itaas nga iangat natin. Development, di ba? Doon, and tama, like, I think we were doing it right. We're doing some things right, but the devil nga is in the implementation. So may farm tayo, hindi natin nabigyan ng sufficient na tools para maging economically autonomous sila.
I think that's the problem kasi nung nasa barn. Ano ba yung economic development plan? How are you gonna do this? Kasi ilang years na ba silang barn?
Ano pa lang, wala pang ilang taon kasi si Presidente Duterte ang nag-oversight niyan eh. So ano ba yan, 3 taon pa lang yata, 4.
So yun yung kasi right now kasi wala silang I don't know the specific, no. It's really about having a technocratic section nung BARM kasi it's still all political na parang hindi kaya ako gusto kasi mag-focus sa economic development kasi economic development is a foundation of political maturity. Hindi ka po pwedeng maging politically mature country if your economic development is so low. Alam mo, kailangan mo munang i-spread out yung economic development. Diba?
Kaya nakikita natin dito ng mga komento, pagpapataas ng sahod, na we get mired into these details na hindi pangmalawakan, hindi rin na ang ating kumbaga focus is still para iangat muna natin ang sarili natin, which, by the way, tama yan kasi hindi ka makakapag-diskusyon ng filosofiya o politika unless kahit paano nabubusog ka, na may capability ka mag-isip dahil hindi ka gutom.
Hindi, marami kasi siyang there are virtuous cycle kasi yan, Attorney Trixie, you need to be in a sufficient economic condition in order for you to be able to improve the educational system, for you to be able to improve the transportation system, in order for you to involve it, kasi kailangan mong makita yung how efficiency works, no? And efficiency is an economic concept. It's not a political concept. Ang opposite kasi sa political concept kasi is equality. Ngayon kasi ang gusto lang natin equality. Pero the problem is, katulad nito, itaas ang sweldo, is efficiency. But like for example, yung itaas ang sweldo, is that really the concern of every region? Na maybe hindi pa doon sila sa itaas ang sweldo, maybe doon pa sila sa panahon pa tayo ng napaka backward pa ng conditions, economic conditions sa probinsya natin. Mag-usap tayo na itaas ang sweldo, maybe muna bago i-improve muna natin yung ating economic system dito sa probinsya natin. So, ayun.
So yun, sabi ni Ma'am Janet, pagkain muna bago ang lahat. No, I agree naman with that. Kailangan natin i-address ang gutom. So, the reason ganito kami mag-usap is kasi pag ang proposal ay baguhin ang ating saligang batas, hindi pwede na yung approach natin is yung kababawan. Kumbaga, these are going to be cosmetic changes. Kasi ang pinakamalaking balakid sa ating development is the fact that may mga nagko-control ng economic wealth and opportunities dito sa bayan na to. And hindi man natin nararamdaman, ang binibigay lang nila sa atin ay illusions of choice rather than actual choices. So ano yung definition ng poverty? Ang definition ng poverty kasi is the lack of choices, yung kakulangan ng pagkakataon or not opportunities but choices. Like, for example, alam mong mahirap ka kung dahil limited ang resources mo, ito lang ang pwede mong bilhin para sa pagkain mo. Dito ka lang pwede pumasok sa school. Hindi ka ito lang ang pwede mong matravel and so on. So yung mga limitations na ganyan also limit ourselves, our economic development, at saka yung capacity natin mag-isip beyond, yung mas malawak yung isip natin. So hindi lang yung ngayon ang iniisip natin, kundi yung development of 20 years later, kung anong klaseng mundo yung haharapin ng ating mga apo, and so on. So, before we started this discussion, ang mga nakikita natin sa comment sections were primarily, dapat mag-federalism, dapat mag-ganito, dapat, ano ba yung iba? Dapat mas mataas ang sahod, tapos mas we need to pag constitution kasi, ito po, this is the document that constitutes us into a country. So, ano yung mga kailangan ng isang bansa? Nakikita niyo yung mga G7, G8 nations. Meron silang national philosophy. Meron silang, yung thinking nila is towards goals that are loftier than simply trying to survive. Okay? And so, dapat, yun yung inaasam natin. Or, tama ba na yung inaasam natin will require a charter change? So, dun muna tayo, yung awareness that this is a big world and that this document is actually bigger than simply saying na dapat federalism o dapat parliamentary. Yeah. Dapat yung approach natin goals. Yes.
Like for example, itong People's Initiative, ano ba yung gusto nilang baguhin? Di ba? Usually,
powers ng Congress. Di ba?
Di ba? Na parang, ang problema kasi dyan is, I don't even know if the Congress is capable of solving any problem. Ito nga lang problema nila na walang liquidation by certification ng MOOE nila, hindi nila ma-resolve. So parang, magpakita muna kayo na kaya ninyong mag-resolve ng problema ng inyong institusyon mismo. Kasi the problem is, you are now trying to convince us, kami mga tao, na kaya ninyong i-resolve ang problema ng Pilipinas. Pero within your institution, hindi nyo kayang resolvehin ang problema ninyo. Hindi ito tugma sa kasabihan natin sa sa ating bansa, na bago mo linisin ang bakuran ng iba, linisin mo muna ang bakuran mo. So yung Kongreso ngayon, gusto nilang linisin yung bakuran ng buong Pilipinas, yung bakuran mismo ng Kongreso ay hindi nila kayang linisin. So, paano kayo paniniwalaan ng mga tao dyan?
Oo, correct. Yan, mga ganyan. So, ako personally, mag-uumpisa ang charter change sa edukasyon. So, dapat ang mga diskusyon natin, hindi man tayo bigyan. Kasi, I doubt kung bibigyan tayo ng pagkakataon na aralin natin ito and so on, kailangan tayo yung mag-aaral. We will take the initiative to understand yung dapat encompassing ito. So, or mag-pinpoint natin one solution that we need to implement para mag-cascade siya. So, let's say, economic autonomous regions is one good suggestion. Diba?
Yeah, exactly. Kasi, alam mo, Attorney Trixie, so tinitingnan lang kasi natin yung problema natin. Like for example, sasabihin na, hindi tayo nakakakuha ng FDI, ng foreign direct investment because of our constitution. For me, that is, if among all the causes, maybe it's marginal. Kasi if you're going to look at other countries, they did this through special economic zones. And second, maganda kasing industrial system nila at maayos yung gobyerno nila. So, among all the causes, kung ba't hindi tayo makakuha, maybe yung constitution is the last thing there. They are more concerned about logistics and proximity, etc. No, parang we have to be realistic of kung ano ba itsura ng Pilipinas, no? We are an archipelago, separated from Asia. Na parang kung ikaw yung business leader, the last thing that you would look at is not really the constitution of the Philippines, but its location. Where is it? Is it really cost-effective to have long-term investment sa Pilipinas? So kaya nakikita natin yung weakness ng ating bansa. So paano natin i-capitalize paano natin mag-i-improve doon sa weakness natin, and that is to improve our connectivity to Asia. Kasi yun ang economy.
So yun. So nakikita ko na yung what we have done here in the space of an hour and 17 minutes is yung discussion now is towards something like this na we're talking about the bigger problem. The big problem is the lack of choice. Poverty talaga ang problema natin. Kasi kukunti talaga yung choices natin. Now, the question is, how do we break out of that? One suggestion here is to create local economic autonomous regions that we will test pilot to see if kakayanin on a local level na the locals will create their own economic opportunities, create their own economic relations, and let's see how that goes. Kaya bang iangat ng mga locals yung sarili nila so that they enjoy some benefits? Yes.
Yeah, kasi ano yan you need to be scientific about it. 'Di ba? Pilot testing ka muna. Na unahin mo muna itong mga region na ito, and then they will provide lessons, no? Lessons to other regions on how they could do this. Kasi you could limit it, no? You could limit it na, okay, ikaw region ka. We will give you financial and economic autonomy on the following issues: healthcare, transportation, education, ano pa ba? Attracting investments in the following sector. And then other areas, you need approval from the national government, no? Na kailangan pa nila. And in other areas, you only need guidance or recommendations. You know, consultation. You just only need to consult them. Hindi yung, kasi that's for me a more stable way of transitioning na. Kung ayaw nyo naman ng stable, you can go for a revolution. Just like the French, you know. Pero yun nga, are you ready to have a long-term period of adjustment to go back to stability?
Ito sabi ni Benson, pasensya na pero nakararami sa ating mga kababayan ay nagiging tamad at palaasa sa politiko. Kaya tayo napapaikot na nabubudol, panahon na para tayo ay maging parating gising. Pero sa totoo lang, Benson, hindi natin, I think, this is by design. Ginagawa talaga ng mga politiko natin na umaasa tayo sa kanila. Tignan nyo yung ayuda system. Diba? Para makakuha ng 3,000, 5,000, pipila tayo, tapos tatandaan natin yung pangalan nitong taong to kasi nagbigay siya ng 5,000, iboboto ko na siya. So, you remain mired iyan ang tawag natin sa patronage politics. Yung kung sino yung patron, nagbibigay sa atin, pabahay, palibing, pabinyag, pakasal, whatever. Pumupunta tayo sa kanila and in exchange, sila yung ginagawa nating leaders. So, doon pa lang, nakikita ko na may problema na tayo dun sa, and is this something that the Constitution or changing the Constitution is going to help us in? Kasi kung babaguhin natin yung Constitution, pero andyan pa rin sila, at sila pa rin ang namumuno, at wala pa rin tayong ibang mga choices, sayang lang pera natin. Iangat muna natin yung sarili natin.
Yeah, I agree with that. Kaya nga ang is go local muna, the changes, no? Kaya nga ang is give them special economic zone status and then let them do it. Kasi nga, na parang itong nangyayari kasi sa atin na nangangailangan pa rin ng ayuda, it is because yung sistema natin is still very like that. Ngayon, paano ka magta-transition sa point A to point B? Again, no? Kaya ka nagiging ganyan ang sistema because the region is not really generating economic opportunities for its constituents, kaya sila ay umaasa sa dole out. Ngayon, how do we move away from that? And that is to bigyan mo itong mga gusto ng special economic zone status ng pagkakataon to actually generate local or regional wealth. Na sila na mismo yung maggagawa ng opportunities for their own people na hindi umaasa sa Manila. Kasi yan naman ang isa sa malaking problema ng sistema natin ngayon, no? Lahat umaasa sa desisyon sa Manila. Diba? Desisyon sa Manila.
Politiko lang, ha? Because they're the ones who are here. Sila yung concentrate niyan, ang isa ko pang but this is a longer term solution, is hindi natin kilala sarili natin, So how do you govern a people na hindi mo kilala? Wala tayong study of history. Hindi tayo, just lip service ang aral ng ating kasaysayan. Kaya inuulit-ulit natin yung mga pagkakamali. Hindi natin kilala, mga kababayan natin, ilan sa mga tribo o mga indigenous cultural communities ang kilala ninyo Diba? We've kept ignorant of all of these things. Pati yung mga, isipin mo mga kababayan natin, hindi natin kilala, kasaysayan natin, hindi natin alam na nagkakaroon ng national amnesia. And wala tayong ka-pride sa sarili natin kung kaya't kahit yung sarili natin, sige, benta natin yung kaluluwa natin o yung boto natin kasi hindi naman natin nararamdaman yung empowerment. Wala rin tayong national identity, wala tayong malasakit sa isa't isa, we're forever divided kasi nga hindi na de-develop yung konsepto ng national identity dahil walang unifying factor. Kultura yung unifying factor. Hindi naman natin kilala ang sarili nating kultura. Hindi tayo binibigyan ng pagkakataon na aralin ito. Kaya lamang na lamang yung mga history majors. Pag-usapan ninyo, halimbawa, a lot of the discussions on Andres Bonifacio are still mired in 1930 politics between Quezon and Aguinaldo. So, si Aguinaldo, pinatay niya si Andres Bonifacio without any examination of the kind of decisions that you have to make during wartime. Diba? May mga ganyan. So, para sa akin, it's a slow solution, but it is one that consolidates us. It makes us into Filipinos. Kailangan kilala natin ang sarili natin. And how do you do that? You study history. You study our culture. We need to get to know each other. Kailangan, di ba, ilan ang indigenous cultural communities, ilan ang ethno-linguistic groups dito? Alam mo ba, there was a time, it was 113. Tsaka dynamic yan. Minsan, nagkakaroon ng intermarriages, nagko-combine ang mga communities. The communities from 50 years ago are no longer the same communities now. But they are still IPs. They are still indigenous cultural communities. Pero ang understanding natin ay dun sa kababawan na, ito yung ancestral domain, ito yung ang gusto ko, mga katutubo na kasuot ng kasuotan nila. And so
may address lang ako, Attorney Trixie, no? Meron sinabi dito na masyado po kasi mabait ang Pilipino, masyadong mapagbigay sa simpleng pagsunod lang sa batas trapiko, hirap tayo sumunod. Alam mo, I disagree with that. Maybe in Manila, that's what you see. But that's not what but that's not what you will see in Baguio. That's not what you will see in Davao. Sa Davao City, sumusunod sila sa batas trapiko. Sa Baguio City, ganun din. Di ba, Batanes din, sumusunod sila. So, hindi mo, yung nakikita kasi ninyo is Manila lang. Pero yung in other parts, may disiplina sila. So baka ang problema lang is yung mga Manilenyo, or yung sistema sa Manila. So, ayan, sa Subic, ganun din, sumusunod sila sa batas trapiko. Correct, di ba? Yung kahit nga walang stoplight, alam nila kung sino unang hihinto, Alam mo yun, at yung pedestrian lanes, nire-respeto, di ba? So, I think wag tayong mas stuck na ang ugali ng mga Pilipino ay yung ugali ng mga Manilenyo. That is not
iba rin kasi yung iba yung pressures of living in an urban system like amidst urban decay like Manila, like much of Metro Manila. Iba yung nagiging mentality mo pagka yung masikip, polluted, merong visual and audio pollutions. So iba yung nagiging kalakaran dyan. Iba yung nade-develop na character mo kapag dito ka sa city lumaki. So actually, ang laki ng advantage ng mga nasa probinsya. Una, mas matalino kayo because you will speak more than 2 languages. Most likely, you speak 3. And yes, the regional languages that you speak are languages, not dialects. Okay? Pangalawa, dun, malamang sa hindi, mas develop yung utak ninyo kasi less polluted yung mga lugar nyo. Mas healthy kayo kasi mas likely na kumain kayo ng gulay. Less ang mga processed food niyo.
Hindi, Daryl, I don't believe na lahat ng Pilipino immature. Ang kailangan lang ng mga Pilipino ay maayos system. Kasi kung immature ang mga Pilipino, pag nasa ibang bansa sila dapat ang number 1 problem na immigrant. The problem is, that's not the case. Filipinos, when they go abroad, they follow rules, they are well-disciplined. Kaya nga may naririnig ka ba na anti-Filipino sentiment sa iba't ibang di ba? Kasi nga, ang mga Pilipino, kung maayos ang sistema, they will adapt. Di ba? Hindi sila, kasi immature sila. Kung if you're immature, you cannot adapt to a new system. Hindi sila magtatagal. Like, for example, sa Middle East, na napaka-strict, or even sa China, or even sa Vietnam. There are Filipinos in Vietnam. There are Filipinos in Hong Kong. So, look at Davao. Alam mo, pag nakapag-usap ka sa mga Davaoenyo, they understand what is an efficient system. They understand what is actually a good governance. Hindi, alam mo, napaka-pragmatic ng mga Davaoenyo at realistic. And that is because of what Digong has actually inculcated. Parang, alam mo yun, na-absorb nila yung governance ni Digong eh. Kaya naiintindihan nila na ay itong proyektong to hindi to maganda. Kasi ano to eh, aksaya to sa pera. Di ba may mga ganyan reklamo mga Gabawenyo, and the local government actually listens.
So, ang isang another thing that we can look at when we're talking about charter change is look at Marcos Sr. Kasi meron siyang bagong lipunan. Kumbaga, when we made the 1973 Constitution, 73 kasi yung ratification, so you usually set it at the year that it was ratified. So, nag-constitutional convention and all that. But before that, he wrote a book. Okay? Doon sa libro na yon, sinet niya kung ano yung goals. Kung ano yung paraan para ma-reach yung goal. And one of them was national discipline. Diba? Sa ikauunlad ng bayan, disiplina ang kailangan. So, mayroon mga, and then there was an entire philosophy that the old society was no longer working. It was mired in corruption. We had forgotten kung sino po tayo, mga Pilipino. It also included the study of history at yung identification kung ano ang pagiging Pilipino. So, isipin nyo, dinaanan muna natin yan bago tayo nagkaroon ng 1973 Constitution. So, dito, sa ating pag-propose ng pagbabago sa saligang batas, dapat din, ideally, tahakin natin. Ano ba ang gusto nating abutin ng mga Pilipino? Ano ba ang paraan para abutin natin yung goals na yon? Hindi lang dun sa nung sinulat yan, ang ginawa ni Marcos Sr. ay sinama niya tayong lahat. Kumbaga, communal yung approach. Kasi gano'n ang Pilipino, communal tayo. Kaya dati, naging importante lang yung Bill of Rights after 1986. I mean, of course, importante ang individual rights. Pero ang pag-approach natin sa ating development as a nation, as well as ang governance natin, from way back to the pre-colonial societies, was the meritocracy, yung magagaling, yung umaangat, at para sa ikabubuti ng community. So, ganun din dapat yung kaya lang we cannot break out of the mindset na yung detalye yung nakikita natin, dapat walang jaywalking. Yung mga ganon. Dapat hindi pwedeng dapat pwedeng baguhin ganito right away and so on. We're looking at details instead of changing because we have the opportunity na baguhin natin yung approach natin to nation building at yun dapat yung tingin natin. Hindi yung charter change for charter change. Pero dahil gumagawa tayong lahat, we are creating a nation.
Yeah. So
magkakasama tayo.
Well, I think it's combination, nation building and state building. Magkaiba yan. Nation building is really relationship with your identity as a people. Pero, simple lang din tayo sa state building, no? kasi kasi si Attorney Triggs, ang focus niya is the non-material aspect of statehood. That's nation building, culture, etc. Ako, ang focus ko kasi is the more pragmatic and material aspects of being a nation, and that is concerning dun sa state building. Kaya nga ang ko is, you need economic development. Okay? It's impossible. At lahat yan maapektuhan. Kultura, etc. Malawak yung sakop yan nung economic poor economic development. Kaya nga ako na baka kaya hindi tayo makapag-national magkaroon ng isang unified national economic development plan kasi nga from the standpoint of nation building is magkakaiba talaga yung kultura natin. Merong cultural aspect. May multicultural aspect. At meron din silang dapat na economic development na angkop sa pag-evolve ng kanilang kultura bilang isang rehiyon. Kasi ang nangyayari ngayon, halimbawa na, babalik na naman ako sa mining. Sa mining, alam naman natin na karamihan ng mga lupa dyan is from the indigenous people. No? For some reason, yun talaga ang mga lupain nila mga mayayaman sa minerals. Di ba? In their own system, the property is the property of the community. Ngayon, the Manila system is property is individual. It can be given individually. So, can you imagine yung clash noon?
Yung clash, totoo yan.
Yung nagwawagay ay yung Manila. So, ngayon na nangyayari with indigenous people na community property yan eh. So, they're now experiencing community poverty. Kasi nga, wala lang sila doon eh. No? They are not benefiting from the actual richness. Kaya nga, we need to look at this as not a from a unified approach. Kasi nga, iba-iba yung needs. Kaya nga ako mas pabor ako na let's explore at least no the idea of special economic zone, and let's see if it could lead to development of certain regions. Kasi nga habang lumalaki ang isang regional, umaano yung development niya, magkakaroon niya ng spillover effect doon sa karatig na region. Kasi of course, you're going to expand, you're going to create more connections. Kaya ayon ang aking mas tinitindigan. Let's start small.
Let's start local. Pero, we're not only going to be doing one thing, di ba? So, while this is going on, para sa akin while this is going on, buhusan natin yung edukasyon at pag-aaral ng kultura. So, meron tayong long-term and continuing development. And please, iangat natin yung antas. Kasi, ang problema natin, for the longest time, ang mga tinanggap natin na sinasabi sa ating mga politiko, sinasabi ng ating mga politiko na pwede na yan. Do you remember this? Ito yung galit na galit ako dun sa mga dilaw dati. Kasi para sa kanila, that's for the masa, pwede na yan. Diba? Kaya yung mga bulukin na schoolhouses, pwede na yan. Yung mga transportation, nakapila ka sa labas ng MRT or ng LRT for 2 hours, okay na, pwede na yan. Nakapila sa labas ng DFA para kumuha ng passport for 4 hours, pwede na yan. So,
that is the problem nga, Attorney Trixie. Kasi, what yung mga nagde-decide kasi niyan is wala naman silang connect doon sa local Alam mo yon? Like for example, magandang point, magpupunto mo no? Hindi pala ito yung nagpunto dito si Professor Van kanina sa live namin. Na ang mga Dutertes, they're really from Davao. So they will actually deliver they know what Davaoenos need. Kasi Davaoenos sila, dyan sila tumira, dyan sila lumaki, alam nila yung pighati at kailangan ng mga tao. So alam nila kung ano mga baguhin at paano ito baguhin, no, nang naaayon sa kaisipan ng mga Davaoenos. No? So, kaya hindi nila pwedeng, hindi mo masasabi sa mga Davaoenos na pwede na yan. Actually, mareklamo ang mga Davaoenos, di ba? Alam nila kung ang serbisyo ay hindi sapat at yan yung I think they have been part of local is there such a thing as local nation building. So nakikita mo yung whole community building. So nakikita mo sila na parte sila ng community building ng Davao. Na nakikita nila sandali, parang pumapangit yung pagpapatakbo mo ng Davao Kasi nakita nila yung, di ba, may ganyang reklamo kay Baste. Hello Baste, pasensya ka na. Pero may mga ganyang reklamo kay Baste. Magprangkahan na lang tayo. Kasi nga, the Davaoenos themselves as a community want to preserve the kind of system that they have, na ganito maayos. Kaya sila nagrereklamo. Hindi sila nagrereklamo just for the sake of nagrereklamo. Dahil alam nila yung solution dun sa problema nila, kaya sila nagrereklamo.
Another is that we have to approach problem solving not based on the part where it hurts. So halimbawa, kulang na poverty, bahay, kulang tayo sa bahay. Ang nangyayari is that we say, sige, ikaw gumawa ka ng mga bahay. But houses will not make a community. Now, backwards, look at the Ministry of Human Settlements of Mrs. Marcos. Sorry Dun sa merong mga pillars na sinet sila. You're not just talking about that's why it was called human settlements. Dun sa area na ginagawa nila, andun yung shelter. That's one of the pillars. Education, malapit yung schools. Yung religion, yung simbahan or whatever other places, malapit din. Grocery, malapit din. So what you build are not houses. What you're building are communities. So yung pagbabago ng ating isip towards building a society, towards building a community. And yes, we can do that by starting local. So, halimbawa, kaya nga may barangays tayo. Within the barangay, i-identify ninyo. Ano ba dito ang pangangailangan, ang basic needs for the human settlement that is called the barangay. Kaya nga, ang problema rin natin is that because we're not community-centered, we're individual-centered because so many of our professionals are educated abroad, such as but not limited to yung mga nag-master sa architecture and engineering. When they create communities, they create individual buildings and so on, di ba? Pag pumunta ka sa barangay, may mga barangay na hindi naka-layout. So, ano yung problema natin? Transportation, getting from one point to the other. We end up using so much fuel kasi hindi reachable everything. Technically, dapat lahat yan nalalakad. So again, ang key dito is the mindset that we do not live as individuals or as families, but that we have to live in communities. So tingnan nyo ha, yung mga gated communities, that's a bastardization of the idea. Because what it does is, all the rich people live in these little enclaves, and they don't see the poverty that's outside. So if your government officials live in these perfumed communities, hindi nila sinosolve yung problema ng mga tao na are outside of these communities. You keep them out, you gate your community, and you don't help the ones outside, or you never even see them. Diba? They make us invisible.
Hindi, actually, parang ano lang, huwag na tayong lumayo. Ilan sa politiko natin, or mayayaman, ang gumagamit ng train, ng MRT.
Ayan.
Kaya hindi nila isa-solve yan. Or jeepney, or whatever. Kaya hindi nila isa-solve yan. Kasi hindi
pwede
sila apektado. Pwede
Yeah.
lang sa mahihirap yan. Saka hindi naman sila apektado. Di ba mas isosolve pa nga nila yung mga issues ng mga mayayaman na kailangan ng madali ang pera or whatever. Kasi yan yung naiintindihan nilang problema. Pero yung problema ng, alam mo, yung kuryente, mahal na kuryente, ano naman sa kanila yung presyo ng kuryente, no? Ang dami nilang pera. Ang British, yung iba pa dyan, ang gobyerno pa nagbabayad ng kuryente nila sa bahay. So, hindi nila to issue. Nagigets din nyo? So, kaya yan ang mahirap, no? That when your politicians and even bloggers are now divorced from the issues of the common tao.
Correct. Kasi hindi sila hampasupa. Tulad natin. Di ba? You have to know yourself. You have to know your community. You have to know the needs of the people that you're living in. Ako kasi nakatira ako sa Cubao. So, it's not a gated community. Hindi pa nila magigate ang Cubao, sa totoo lang. Regardless of what the Araneta's think, the Araneta Center. So, ayun. So, Sas, would you like to sum up your proposition dito? Yung
Okay.
discuss.
Ang ano ko is, I agree that we need to change our political system. Okay? I am for parliamentary system and federal system. Ang akin lamang minumungkahi is kailangan meron tayong malinaw na direction from point A to point B. Alam nyo, ang pagbabago ng sistema, ito ay hindi to peaceful ha. Next, ibig ko sabihin sa peaceful, hindi ibig sabihin dadanak ng dugo or whatever. It will be a period, of instability kasi it's hard to change habits. Ito din nakasanayan nating sistema. So how do you change the habit in the least unstable way? So, ibig sabihin dapat maging smooth yung ating transition. So, ang aking suggestion is, first, we focused on giving specific regions a special economic status. Na meron silang economic autonomy on certain areas. Like, for example, developing their transportation, healthcare system, related to industrialization, everything that's related to their economy, and maybe give them a time period, na, okay, you will only have this status for 10 years, and then after 10 years, we will review kung okay na ba ito, is this status actually helpful for your development, o kung okay naman, ano pa ba, we can continue for another 10 years. Alam mo yun na, we need to have an approach to policy making na scientific. Kaya nga, pilot testing muna tayo, mga friends, no? Hindi naman natin, may mga bagay na kailangan muna nating itest para malaman natin nag-work. Kasi yung example sa ibang bansa, that's not pilot testing. That is just an inspiration. Diba? So, hindi mo po pwedeng sabihin na na-test kasi sa ibang bansa, kaya nag-work. Well, nakita lang natin yung outcome, but we didn't see the process. So, you need to look at the process.
Yan yung getting from point A to point B. Ako, I agree with your proposals with the additional input that hindi tayo makakaabot hindi rin tayo makakagawa ng point A to point B or even a roadmap from point A to point B kung hindi natin bubuhusan ng edukasyon at tataasan ng antas nito, alagaan din yung kalusugan and pag-aaralan natin ang sarili nating kultura at kasaysayan. Nang sa gayon, nakaka-develop tayo ng national identity which leads us to care about each other, identify, kaya nga national identity, to identify with each other so that, alam niyo yung mga ginagawa ng mga Hapon, di ba? Yung supranational discipline nila, it comes out of the belief that what they do affects everyone in the community and in the nation. And that is what you call national identity. You identify with the person sitting next to you, even if they're not family, they're not friends, they're complete strangers, but they are fellow citizens. So the identification that we are all heading in the same direction. Lahat tayo iisang bangka. Because actually, yung iisang bangka na imagery na yan, that is pre-colonial Philippines. That was how we believed our communities were. Balanghays, one boat. Lahat tayo nagsasagwan sa isang direksyon. So, with this, ganito yung proposed approach namin to how we're going to revitalize, and ultimately, it isn't a charter change anymore. It is, how do you define this? Like a new society. Sorry, we're still mired in the 70s. Pero, a renaissance. Parang ganon.
Yun eh. Kasi mag-evolve kasi. Mag-evolve kasi yan, no? Kaya nga let's pilot test autonomy. And let's start with economic autonomous regions, no? And then let's see, kasi when you have sufficient economic autonomous region, maybe that's a time that you can, okay, we will now be a federal system. Kasi it is a natural evolution. If you have economic autonomy at you are effective, therefore you can have political, more political control. Because effective ka, pero kailangan mo muna i-demonstrate na effective ka. Okay? Sige po, magpapaalam na ako. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Yas. So maraming salamat din sa lahat ng nanood sa amin ngayon. Ini-institute namin ito kasi kanina, nang nag-live ako this morning, pinag-uusapan natin ay yung charter change. Pinag-uusapan natin kung paano binabago ang ating saligang batas. Mechanics po ang inuna natin kasi nakasaad na yan at malinaw sa ating current 1987 Constitution. So ang tinitignan natin naman ngayon is approaches. Kasi ang nangyayari is, sinasabi natin, dapat federalism, dapat ganon. When actually, we have not even identified what the problems are, what our needs are. Hindi natin pwede sabihin na ito, gawin natin ganito. Kasi hit or miss yan. We don't know if it will work because we have not established the goal. Ano ba yung goal? Gusto natin umangat tayo. So ang goal is development. It's not the goal of having a FedPARL. The goal is how this system is supposed to work for us. So, hindi po ganun yung approach na i-identify mo na what you want, but we will identify first what the goal is. If the goal is development, and economic development is probably what we need the most now, that goes hand in hand with creating national identity at saka yung pagtataas ng antas ng ating edukasyon, ang identifiable natin na problema dito is the fact that we are left with very little choices. At bakit tayo walang choices? Kasi kinokontrol ng oligarkiya yung mga choices natin. So, paano natin babasagin yan? Well, the practical aspect is the creation nga of local economic zones, the identification of our goals, and if we need to change the charter in order to get these things, in order to do these things, yes, if we develop the local economies, if we develop the capacity of individual communities na iangat nila and develop the economic opportunities in these communities, then maiaangat natin yung sarili natin. Iaangat natin yung hindi lang yung antas ng diskusyon dito, kundi yung it doesn't become dapat gawin natin to, dapat gawin. Sa totoo lang, itong charter change ay dinidikta ng ating Kongreso right now. Di ba? Sino ba sila sa atin? Bakit nila dinidikta? Hindi nga natin hinihingi itong pag-expand ng powers ng Congress. And in fact, kitang-kita natin na itong kongresong ito, hindi natin pinagkakatiwalaan, much less to allow them to tinker with the Constitution. Pero bakit meron tayong ganyan na officials? I-examine natin. Ano yung punot dulo, bakit sila lang? So, nakikita natin is we have allowed them to grow so rich and so powerful na all they are giving us na lang is the illusion na may choice pa tayo. So, yun yung mga pupuntiryahin natin if ever we change change the system. Ito sabi ni Meow, how about parliamentary system? Do you agree? Ma'am, hindi nga ako agree. I will agree with anything, but you have to set the goal. Bakit po parliamentary ang tinitignan ninyo? Ano yung problema na sinosolve natin? At paano natin ito isosolve? Kasi kung ang tingin ninyo is, what we're trying to do is a piecemeal solution when the idea is that we have to create whole communities. We have to create a nation. So, tapos ang pupuntiryahin ninyo ay ganitong sistema. How does that create the nation? Paano mababasag ang oligarkiya kung ganyan yung sistema natin? Paano tayo magkakaroon ng mas maraming choices kung FedPAR tayo ng FedPAR without knowing how it is going to solve, what the problems are and how it's going to solve those? Okay? So maraming salamat at nag-participate po kayo. Kulang po itong isang diskusyon na ito. Masakit nga para dun sa iba because we're still in that mindset na, kailangan ganito. Kailangan tanggalin natin ito. May economic provisions, hindi nag-work yan sa atin, tanggalin natin yan. What you're doing is a piecemeal approach and hindi natin pa, without telling the people, ano ba yung problema na nakikita ninyo? Sasabihin ninyo sa amin, yung 60-40 yung problema. We know that's not true. Hindi po totoo na 60-40 yung problema. The nationalized industries are not the problem kasi 100% sa manufacturing pwedeng foreign direct investments. Sa ating telcos, sa energy, lahat ng mga big industries, pwede po ang foreign direct investments up to 100%. Sa extraction of natural resources, sa media, sa education, and sa creation of weaponry and so on, and a few others, yun lang po yung nationalized. Okay. So, okay, next. So, yun po. We will have to discuss more. And yes, we have to all study more. Hindi po matatapos ang diskusyon sa ganito lang. Siguro, everyday, meron konti tayong panahon na ilalaan at i-discuss yung mas malawakang approach sa pagbabago dito. Okay? Yeah, remember what I told you, what our history. Nagkaroon muna tayo ng filosofiya, goal setting, and identification of solutions before na-launch ang bagong lipunan. So, ganun din dapat yung approach natin dito. When we say whole of society ang approach natin, we do mean the whole of society. Okay? At we do mean that it isn't about the Constitution itself that is the problem. The problem is much bigger than that. Okay? So, yes, lahat ng mga to. So, ayoko yung masyado kami yung magsasalita. Next time, we're going to have to look at how you're going to approach this problem. Pero, ang suggestion is to break away from the details, but let's build an entire approach, and to set the goal of community and nation building. So, ibig sabihin lahat yan, you take that into consideration. Once na-establish natin yan, then we can have a look. Does this constitution reflect those goals? And if not, paano natin ilalagay yung goals na yon? Paano natin aayusin para maaabot natin yung goals na yon? Okay? So, maraming salamat din po. And yes, we all appreciate. Thank you po sa lahat ng naka-appreciate dun sa input ni Sas because these are very intelligent input. Yeah. Okay, maraming salamat. Sabi ni Seo Hyun-soo, para makahirit siya, basta bigay muna nila yung national ID na tatabunan na. Yes, I agree with that one. Of course, we will discuss pa rin the problems that make up the everyday nation building that we para maisaayos din natin ang nation building. And yes, tama po kayo, yung national ID ay isang mahalagang bahagi ng ating paggagawa ng pagre-rebuild ng ating bayan. So, muli, maraming salamat sa lahat ng nag-participate dito. Nagpapasalamat ako sa napakatatalino mga komento ninyo at saka pati sa pag-identify ng ilang mga problema na kailangan gawin nating bahagi ng mga susunod na diskusyon natin. So, sabi ni Katipunan po Party Club, system shapes behavior. And behavior and philosophy will create then the approaches to building these communities and this nation. Maraming salamat. Sana hindi po kayo napagod. And we will see you again tomorrow. Nakadalawa tayong live today, kaloka. Wala na akong boses. Maraming salamat. Good night, everybody. And good day para dun for those who are on the other side of the world. See you again very soon. Thank you.